Which seemed to be a good time to introduce Hilary Calvert, who is not a gun owner, I assume, either. Are you, Hilary? Nice to have you on.
Well, our family is. I'm personally not.
When you say our family, does that mean your husband is?
My husband and my daughter.
Right.
My daughter inherited her.
So they have to, but they have to be...
Have a gun from...
They've got firearms, have they? They've got, what are they called? Licences.
Yes.
Right.
I wouldn't be telling you about them if they hadn't.
No, okay.
What I think is quite true in its own way about your response that you've just articulated is the underlying faith that means you think you have, that you would know where firearms were just because you tell legal, properly behaved people to report that they've got them. You're usually more cynical than that.
No, I don't have a problem because I've just got to register my car every year. I've got to register it, I've got to get a warrant of fitness.
No, but I'm saying, are you really believing that if you have a rule that says you have to put your hand up and say what you've got, that people will do that? I am. I'm saying that, and I gave you the really good example of I think it's useful for the police to know that in a volatile domestic circumstance, which they attend many of these, or in a mental health case, that they might know that that particular individual has a firearm. And I heard that.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's why I say it's pretty cute that you actually believe that they would know that, because somebody is the sort of person who's beating the shit out of their wife and probably...
Oh, no, I don't agree with that. No. The kind of people that beat the shit out of their wives or that are involved in domestic issues often are, prior to that particular case, not in trouble with the police at all. It's an emotionally volatile period at which sane people go insane. No, I don't agree with that, Hilary. The suggestion that only people who commit domestic violence or who are involved in volatile emotional situations... I'm
not saying only that. I'm saying that if I would not expect your average experienced policeman to look up the register and say, oh, it's all right, they haven't got guns.
Oh, God, I would.
They've got guns, so I'll just pop up to their place and they'll be all right.
No, I would expect the police to do that in exactly the same way that if they pull me over, as happened a couple of weeks ago in the Mackenzie for speeding, before they get out of the car, they've already seen whether or not my car's stolen and who owns it. I mean, they've got that information instantly available to them, haven't they?
Yes, for the law-abiding people, they have. And
you don't think they should have that information available to them?
Oh, no, I'm saying that I'm not criticising them having information. I don't mind them knowing what, although there's technical difficulties about it, I don't mind them knowing what rifles and pistols and things people have. But the assumption that you make a rule about something and the non-law-abiding people who you're sort of aiming the rule at will just put their hands up and say, oh, just incidentally, I've stolen this car, I've got these guns that I wasn't going to tell you about because I have plans for them. Really, it's, in my view, naive to assume that anybody who has nefarious aims in mind will take their own car or put their own, use something that they've just told the police they have in their possession to shoot somebody with. Really unlikely. Which is not I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. I'm just saying don't expect that it would achieve.
Yeah, I just can't see what the point... Again, I go back to this and I go, as a non-gun owning person, I would like to know where we can track most of the guns to in this country, given their lethality or potential lethality. I'd like to know that before you get a gun licence, you've actually got to pass the character and police check and stuff like that.
Yes, and you always have been able to, so this isn't new and that won't change.
That's right, yeah.
So that, those rules, because I've watched them for years, and what they do when they come and check about whether they're going to renew your firearms licence, is that they not only they come to your house, they look at what guns you have, they talk to whoever else lives there. So they come and talk to me, and they say things like, do you usually live here? Are you frightened of him? You know, are you frightened of him when he's been drinking that he offers to shoot you, or does he? You know, they go through quite a bit of stuff to see, as far as they can, that it's a fit and proper person, and they will take in domestic arguments when they have people threatening with guns and things. They will take your ability to own guns away from you and your guns, if they can.
Okay, the argument here seems to be, I think the Police Association have gone mad though. See again, just Josh, Hilary couldn't hear me until I was 2 seconds into that conversation. But can I just say that the argument here though, Hilary, seems to be that the Police Association believe that they have been excluded from the consultation process, and that they have always been of the view that bugger all people should have guns unless for a work purpose, I guess farmers and the farming community and things like that, who are unlikely to go mad with a gun. They just have a particular view about gangs getting access to guns, but as you point out, well, these are the sort of people that don't worry much about the rules anyhow.
Yeah, so I'm saying it's sort of like, there's a guy who does all the, what I think of as the alcohol prevention officer for the police. It's not his role, it's the...
Good example, actually, yes.
Whatever. And he's been involved in this pinging New World, and I'm not complaining about them pinging New World for this. They've said the rule is that you're not allowed to online sell alcohol for less than 20, discount it by more than 25% or something. So they've just convicted New World or something, fined them $2 million or something for discounting their online things that they, against the rules, which was 26% discounted or 25.3
Yeah, no, it was pathetic.
Or something.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But it's possible that when they're looking at harm reduction from alcohol, that we're all concerned about harm reduction. Some people are also concerned about alcohol, but in particular, the harm that is related to alcohol. You may or may not get in touch with, and I won't name him, this particular person, and say, you've got something to offer here, because you may know that his general view is that we shouldn't really have alcohol in our community. So you don't need to have him as part of the conversation, particularly. You could get him to send you a brief email.
I see your point,
saying,
because you know exactly what he's saying and what he's thinking, and you know what the police are saying.
And he's been saying it for a while. And so that's what I would just say about, we know what the police think, and they could send an email and whatever, but you need to have a much more in-depth conversation with gun owners and things about how you administer some of these things, because
that's fair enough.
People who are affected by them. So, and like, for example, if you happen to have a weapon, because of the recent rules, if you happen to have a gun that is a pre-1940, I don't know when it is, they don't have numbers on them, depending on where they come from. They cannot tag a gun that doesn't have a number on it. So I guess that, in principle, says you can't own it because it hasn't got a number on it. Now, if you want to get involved with that and say, well, you ought to be able to have historic weapons, for historic purposes, as it were, that they haven't got the ability to fire, but they don't have numbers on them. So you'd spend a while talking to people who could get in amongst that and say, well, how do we make a rule that works for these guns and these people or whatever? So you'd spend a lot more time with those people than the police who are just saying, we don't really want guns out there except for us having them.